will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
All right, welcome back to the Cantina Club, everybody. We're going to talk about our expectations, kind of what we hope to see in the new upcoming season two of Andor, which starts April 22nd on Disney Plus. We really enjoyed season one. We never really talked about it on the show. Hopefully, we will at some point. But we just wanted to at least, now that we're about a couple of months away from the start of this new season, we just want to kind of jump in and give our thoughts now that we've had a couple of interesting trailers to watch about where we think this is going to go. So, Gundark, why don't you start us off and kind of give us an idea what you're hoping to see on the season based on what we've seen so far.
Well, I know we're leading up to Rogue One, but what kind of struck me about that trailer that we watched was how close we're getting to Rogue One because we're getting a lot more characters from Rogue One, like
Hmm.
Krennic, and who is the Forrest Whitaker character?
Saw Gerrera,
Okay, Saw.
yeah,
Uh,
How dare
Saw.
and
you?
K2SO.
Yeah, and K2, I knew K2SO was
Hmm.
going to be in there, but now I'm thinking about we were chatting about this. I guess it was in our trailer reaction. Greedo said that maybe we might have other characters. I'm kind of hoping that Donnie Yen's character and
Yeah,
his
that would
buddy
be
might
neat.
make it in there somewhere.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
would be pretty cool.
And
But I think I'm most excited about Krennic. I don't know what the heck they're going to do with him except his struggles to try to make this Death Star or something. I don't know how are they going to.
right, yeah. How are they going to
I
incorporate him
mean,
into the
where they
story?
can't
Yeah,
have him, and are they going to have Vader
yeah. I don't
if
know.
he's overseeing? If we're getting to the Death Star now, and he's overseeing the creation of the Death
Hmm.
Star, or no, yeah, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
because he appeared in Rogue One, so
Hmm.
is he going to appear in this? Yeah, there are all kinds of ways that this can go.
Right.
Also the Borgullet.
Yep.
The Borgullet.
The Borgullet.
The Borgullet
That would
making
be great to
appearance.
have a Borgullet cameo.
I want a Borgullet cameo. Now
He's
that I've
he's
seen Saw,
officially the
I've got to have a
Cantina Club
Borgullet.
mascot. We haven't used the Borgullet in a couple of years now.
Dolly, we got to wheel him out so we
Yeah,
can
he's
ask
he's
him
been in
what's
some
going to
hardcore
happen.
hibernation.
Yeah, we got to ask him if he's going to be in this show. That has to be the next
That
Ask the
that would be,
Borgullet.
yeah, that actually, yeah, we need to do a Borgullet expectations show
But
for
remember,
Andor.
he knows the truth. He doesn't just always say the truth.
Exactly. He
So
doesn't necessarily say the truth, but he knows it.
And if you go too long without questioning a Borgullet, it becomes feral. So
oh
then,
no.
then it's very dangerous to ask it any questions at all. So I
Absolutely.
would proceed with caution with that. But if there's ever a show that it needs to be questioned on, it is
Yes,
the show. There's based on the movie. It was the star of for sure. Yeah,
yes,
Exactly.
yes.
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, Greedo, what do you think? What are your hopes and fears for
When
Andor season two? Yep.
maybe we might see a flashback when he was a young, impetuous gullet. um, for season two, I just hope. For one thing, I hope it comes in hot and gives us something riveting right out the gate.
Hmm.
I don't know that that'll happen because that seems counter to the kind of style that the show established,
Yeah.
which is crescendo every so many episodes or whatever.
Hmm.
Build
Hmm.
slow build, and
Right.
I think the fact they're going to be releasing it in groups of 3 episodes means we're going to build and have something
Every third episode, yeah.
to transfer to a different part of the story
Right.
every third episode, I would guess. But I'm not, okay, swear to that. But I also hope they give it plenty of room to breathe. They don't worry about show times.
Hmm.
I hope the
Yes,
story
yes.
just progresses to where you feel like it's a natural stopping point for each chapter.
Hmm.
You don't feel gypped, for being too short or bored from being too long.
Right.
And I just hope I hope that Cassian becomes his own character in this, to
Hmm.
where we get the promised, name of the show. In the first season, my only complaint was that he was so much of an observer
Yeah.
of everything, and his mother kind of ended up being the protagonist. of the ideals of the show. And I'm hoping he can shoulder some of that because they muddled the character with some things. I felt like with his sister and that backstory that I
That
really
was
know where that
odd,
was
wasn't
going.
That was kind of an
it?
odd take.
Because it
Yeah.
was never resolved, right? I
Yeah,
don't think it
it
was.
never went anywhere, and it seemed to be like for a different person,
Right.
which is fine. But they spent a lot of time on it, and so I would rather just see them hit the ground running with the relationships is what I want to see. I want to see Cassian and his mentor in the spy game, and then I want to see the relationship with people like Saw Gerrera and the rebels. And I think Krennic is going to be there as a figurehead for the Imperials to report to, because all these disruptions are going to be causing ripple effects that reach him and his production of the Death Star, and get in the way of his ambition. So I don't know if there'll be any direct, but he could be the guy that takes out, Cassian's boss. So they could go that far.
Yeah.
Although that would be pretty impressive for Krennic, I feel like, but because I don't see him matching with them at all.
Yeah.
um, he'd be punching above his weight there, but so I hope it's just more riveting stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I hope they bring the humanity to it right out the gate, so that we can have people like Andy Serkis and a lot of the characters from the prison episodes to latch on to their humanity and have somebody to relate to on screen and root for and stuff, and not just I love the dialogue and everything, but not just a big philosophical debate. I want to see it in action.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I mean, based on the trailers that we've seen, in particular, the second trailer that just was recently released, it looks like they're trying to expand the universe a little bit, based on what because there was a lot. I think that was the point of the first season is we had, especially once he was imprisoned, that it had a very claustrophobic feel to the show, for several
Yeah,
episodes. And this feels much more expansive, much more, next chapter stuff, where it's like, okay, we've done the incarceration thing, we got out, now it's time to wage war almost, and that's the feel I got from the second trailer. So yeah, I'm just looking for kind of like what Greedo said. I really want to kind of be hooked in immediately. I want to see something right off the bat that like, okay, this is going to be good. This has pulled me in. I'm anxious to see this, as opposed to I feel like a lot of the modern Star Wars, especially the TV show stuff, has just been real slow burn kind of stuff,
hmm
and then little payoff, and then okay, that wasn't necessarily worth it. I just hope they. I don't know, maybe find a better formula for that, at least for my taste. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm just looking forward to seeing K2SO because I really did miss that character. I know it didn't fit in with what was going on in the first season, but as far as a character within that Andor universe, as it were, I really missed the interplay between the two characters. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm assuming, obviously, we'll see how they meet, and how he gets reprograms him or whatever he does to have him be his droid. So yeah, that's basically what I'm looking forward to most is just kind of seeing where they take the story next, and if it lives up to the trailer. So because the trailer
yeah.
was really really good, I really enjoyed that.
It's also interesting that they decided to make it a two-season arc instead of three.
Right.
And I hope they can get everything that Tony Gilroy wants to do into this season and it doesn't feel rushed because he said, Diego Luna said, this show's going to walk you right up to the edge of Rogue One. It's going to
Oh, okay.
take you by the hand and walk you right to the edge.
Right.
So I hope you can get there naturally because this has felt like a whole different universe up to this point,
Hmm.
to where it still feels far away in the distant when you watch Andor season
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though they bring in the Death Star and you could start to see the connections, which still, that's just one of the most brilliant things. I love that the Empire trained the seeds of their own destruction with their
Yeah.
slavery is just so awesome. I mean, it's one of my favorite things from that show. But so yeah, I just really I would like to see more of the actual Civil War and the fight.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what we've seen in Star Wars media, the more serious aspects to tackle different aspects of the Civil War come from the fans. I feel like that era, as much as they've used it as a background, it's been used in cartoons. It's been used in things that aren't adult oriented necessarily. So you don't get the depth of a potential storytelling they even do with some of the best Clone Wars episodes and stuff for the war before that. So, so I would like to see some of that, explored more in depth, like from the Imperial side and from the Rebel side. And I would like to, like I said, have some characters to root for. But even if we don't, even if it ends up just being a lesson in the craziness of war and the geopolitics and all that, then I hope it's riveting,
Right.
But Star Wars does best when it gives us characters to love also. And so if they can pull that off, I think it has the potential to be, a lot of people think it's the best thing Star Wars has ever produced already. So let's just hope it's not a flop, but
yeah, exactly.
But I don't think so. I don't think it will be. But the sky's the limit, and I hope they just deliver something really cohesive, beautiful, compelling, all the things that I've been waiting for from some of the stories that I feel like a lot has been left on the table. And how unlikely, from a character like Cassian Andor. I think that's even better. That makes the potential even better.
Right.
And K2SO, I feel like even if they never had him back, I'd be okay with that, as long as it ended up making sense, because he was so great in the movie. If you're not going to match that greatness somehow, and also bring us new things about him and stuff, I'd almost rather not touch it, and just leave it in your imagination, like and with the high point that it was at.
Yeah.
But Alan Tudyk alone is so damn funny and compelling on his own self,
Right.
So give him a chance and then actually write brilliantly for him like they did in the series. And we could see stuff that they've only hinted at before, with droids and things like that. So that could be very, very interesting. Not to mention the first season direly needed some humor.
Yeah.
Even Gallows humor, and we all know K2SO can deliver that. So,
Right.
what do you think, Gundark?
I have a question. I have a question based on what you were talking about with the characters that we care about, and you mentioned the prison sequence in the first season, which was really where the show just really it found its power. I thought
it made me care for the first time.
I'm wondering if Andy Serkis's character will show up again, because we know he couldn't swim when they escaped, and so that implied that it was a sacrifice for him. He was going to die. So. But I'm just wondering, we didn't see him during on, could he end up showing up again? But
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, and I don't know what the purpose of his character continuing would be.
No, I think what would be brilliant is you write another character like that. Not exactly like that. I'm not saying that. I say
not a copy.
You self-contained within that story, within a three-part story, a character that we love like we did him, because there's brilliant actors out there to connect with these parts. If he's just one of many, that just makes the show that much stronger, right? If you've got a strong character arc in your back pocket like that one, that's different, and instead of just saying, "Look, he's back, let's give him another moment," write a whole new one. Bring us in with Star Wars needs new blood, even if they die in their arc. It's like poetic short stories. It's powerful. It pulls you in. You believe a universe exists where that character lived because he brought you along right through his eyes, into his soul, on his journey of everything that happened to him. You went right along step for step with him. And that's compelling stuff. So that's what I mean. Like, beyond just the writing, you got to have the perfect combination of of setup, writing, opportunity, and then let the actor do what they do and put your faith in them to, and have that completeness there. And
Right.
that was a little bit of what I felt was missing from Cassian, was they didn't give him the opportunities to sit for a second and for me to understand exactly who he was until the very end. When he went and when he made the decision to join Lucian, I think whatever his name is, that was the first. I believe it's super important for characters to make their own decisions, and for us to see that and be pulled along with them or whatever. And he finally made his character statement right at the end. So it was right at the end that his story was really starting. He was formed by a lot of stuff being thrown at him before that point. And you could see each character he encounters is influencing him to be who he's going to eventually be. And it's going to be one badass dude, because there's a lot of cool people he's interacting with, including his enemies, So, yeah, I want to see more just compelling characterizations like that. And I want to see him embody that. I hope they really let him step forward and we get to see who he is, and we enjoy who he is and get to ride along with him, even if it's a character like Lucian that he's trying to become, who is someone very hard to relate to, and very much an anti-hero. I wouldn't call him a hero at all, but you were right there step for step, watching this guy. It's like watching the prequels and you realize you're watching Palpatine, a lot of the movies. You're like, I'm in this for the bad guy in a lot of ways, it's because he's compelling to watch,
Right. It's a compelling arc. Yeah.
Yes. And the actor is pulling you in and saying, come along, and it'll be okay. And that's what we need in a sci-fi setting, is we need people to anchor us to something we recognize and then to give us stakes. The first show, the stakes were more illustrative almost, it was like slowly having your fingernails pulled out. instead of saying like, quick audience, if you do something, you'll keep him from having his fingernails pulled out. It was more like, we're just going to pull your fingernails out slowly in the whole show. There's nothing you can do about it. There's a difference in the type of stakes that are involved there, where you're on the edge of your seat or whether you're pulled in very slow burn, and I want more of the edge of my seat stakes, where the decisions are having real-time repercussions. People are living and dying off of your decisions, off of the actions you take. And I think that's the whole point of this, is it's going to be more about that. And then the ripples, the ripples afterwards, after each thing that happens.
It looks like that from the trailers. But I will say that one of the things I did love about the first season was the slow burn of people being seduced to do things that were totally against their morality, their ethics, everything, to try to win, to fight the Empire. That's why I like the Mon Mothma storyline. I really enjoyed that storyline. So I hope we'll have a little bit of that kind of storyline with, like, we see more of her involvement with the mob and everything that she's starting to get caught with. And maybe that can counterbalance. It can be counterbalanced by some of the action, because it looks like from the trailers there's going to be some incredible action throughout. So
and I also thought the first season illustrated so beautifully the corruption of bureaucracy when it is set against freedom, and it is set against the individual because it is concerned about the safety of the machine. And it showed you that a person like Cassian, just by being alive and just by being involved in some mishaps, was going to get pushed one way or the other. He almost has no choice, because the Empire is going, who's this Cassian Andor guy? He's on their radar before he really does anything.
Yeah.
And so if you have any ability to live your own life and stick your head up a little bit above, they're going to chop it off, or you're going to be part of, your name's going in the machine. Mm-hmm. Okay. So at that point, you either comply and lay low, or you go to prison because they just suspect you. You're a dissident no matter what you do, or you fight back and you get a higher and higher profile. And I think that's sort of what this is about, is there's an intelligence apparatus that is sustaining itself by its own greed and ambition, and regular people are just fodder for this. So you have a choice. Are you going to lay low and let them take everything from you to prove you're a good citizen? Or are you going to say, like his mother said, if I had known, I would have fought these bastards sooner? And the bastards are everywhere. They're everywhere, and they're listening, they're watching, and they're listening. And so those are your choices.
Talking about the intelligence apparatus, that was one of the things I also loved about the first series, is that we got to see inside the Empire with some people who were real people, you know, who were not just caricatures or officers that had almost no lines. You know, you had Deidre and Cyril that were very interesting characters. So I'm hoping there will be a little bit more with them too. And we saw both of them in the trailer. I'm really hoping for more with Cyril because oh wow, that was such a great character for the victim of a bureaucracy. He was a great example. And I noticed that the first trailer had his mother make a reappearance. So
right.
The mother's going to come back.
What, so refresh my memory. What was the fate of, and I don't remember the name of the character, but the girl on his home planet, the younger, you know what I'm talking about? I kept trying to remember
she was tortured. She was tortured.
Right. Yeah, the one that was tortured towards the end. Did we ever learn her ultimate fate, or is she coming back?
Yeah.
Do we know?
She should be back. I bet.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking she might be, but for some reason I was thinking
he took a bunch of them off planet at the end on a ship, and then came back to Lucian and said, "Okay, I've taken care of my last obligations. Kill me if you want, or let me in. Those, you know, I'm not going away." Yeah. And so he finally made his decision, made his decision there at the end, but he took them someplace safe. I'm not absolutely sure where, but I suspect it's that planet we're seeing with the wheat and everything. There's probably a farming community and stuff, and his connections are probably going to bring them down and get him back involved, you know, get them all involved together again, I'm betting. But
I think that's the community. I think that's the community from Rebel Moon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, from Rebel Moon.
No.
Is it from the director's cut, or is it
from the 4-hour version?
Yeah.
I never did even watch the second part of that.
I didn't do
I couldn't even make myself watch it.
No.
Just watch Seven Samurai twice and call yourself lucky. It's like that's a director good enough to do it right the first time.
Yeah.
The director's cut is the cut you see.
Ouch.
Pretty good right out of the gate. So, yeah.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, Rebel Moon. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
But the streaming numbers are insane.
So bad. So bad.
We were made to suffer.
Any last thoughts before we wrap on our expectations of Andor?
I'm psyched for it. I mean, there's so many people say that the first season was the best Star Wars TV show. I still think that Mando seasons 1 and 2 were the best, but this was excellent. It was something that hasn't been done before, where it was really made for an adult audience. You know, it's not really for a kid audience.
No, not at all.
And I'm hoping it can sustain that, and then also bring a lot of action in it, just like Greedo was saying. And have some of the strengths of the first season, and then other things like more character development and more action to the story.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think what's cool about Andor is that it is, if you're throwing out what's the best Star Wars I've ever seen, it's more about you than it is about it. It's a reflection of you wanting to be cool and saying, you know, I'm the cool kid. I watched all of Andor, and it's the best ever. It's like it's apples and oranges, and this is the promise that we got with Disney Star Wars originally, was that we were going to get a lot of different
variety,
things. Yeah. And so when I sit here and harp about, I wish it had more mainstream or whatever you could interpret my saying. Actually, I hope it doesn't, if it's going to change what it is fundamentally, because I just want good product, good Star Wars, and it's perfectly fine the way it was, with allowing an auteur, or whatever you want to call him, to express himself. Even if I disagree with him, there's no So far, anyway, there's no Luke Skywalker here,
Yeah.
Darth Vader to mess with. There's Krennic, there's characters that he helped create. Let him have his fun with them, you know, and let us see how we react to it. I'm perfectly okay with that. So, in fact, I'm super happy about it, and I wish we had more of this kind of thing of just Star Wars going in different directions, unafraid to tell stories, unafraid to have a vibe, a tone, to make you question it yourself. You know, what am I seeing? And the main thing about Star Wars is maintain the quality, because Andor season 1 was high quality.
Yeah, it was.
And this looks like it's going in the same direction. I know the audience hasn't been loyal and everything, but if we can't produce Star Wars at a high level, just quit. You know,
Yeah,
just stop.
don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. As much as the goofiness of Star Wars is part of our memories and everything, it deserves to have the money spent on it and done properly and all that. And if Andor season 1 is proof, then they were doing it right.
Yeah.
So write them the check, let them do season 2 or whatever they want to do if it's another season. And if I don't get it, that's okay. You know, it's like, but I'm hoping I do, and I'm hoping it's great. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I echo the same sentiments. I hope it lives up to the trailer, and gives us something compelling to watch from hit the ground running, and not just bore us for 3 episodes until they finally give us something interesting to look at. And
Yeah.
not Andor season 1 did not disappoint, so I hope this one doesn't either. So, but yeah, so hopefully, depending on what the schedules look like, we're going to try and do some weekly wrap-ups of the show once it starts. Again, it's April 22nd on Disney Plus. So let us know what you think and what your expectations are down in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. We thank you always for checking us out when you do. And we will see you next time, guys. Thank you.
And please make stormtroopers halfway competent again.
Yes, yes. That is one of the downfalls of recent Star Wars, is that they've just been
Yeah.
relegated to Keystone Cops, you know. Yeah, they were always so much better when they were actually a menace, you know.
I really would do them as 2 separate videos, or do full reaction? Full reaction. He's already reacting.
The Rhodian is riveted.
He's reacting.